Welcome to everyone that is joining. I am so excited to see so many people here already. If you are joining us for the first time, I'm so glad that you are here. This is going to be a life-changing tool. If you are a vet and you have been with us for a long time, or this is your second training, or we've met before, I'm so glad to see you again. The chat box should be open. So please, if you have questions at any time as I'm going through things, hop in there and ask me. I do have someone helping me moderate the chat box. So if I don't answer you, make sure you're following through the chat box. Hi from wherever you are in the chat box. If you want to drop where you're streaming from, that would be awesome. I am in Florida. We would call it the Sunshine State, but today it was in the 30s. So struggling a little bit with that, not going to lie. But either way, wherever you are from, I am so glad that you are here. This is going to be a tool that is going to be life-changing for you and your students. I'm going to give probably 30 more seconds for people to come in just in case there's any tech issues. But I see someone is from Texas as well. Freezing Florida. Yep, that's oh, it's Casey Swift. Hi, Casey. Yeah, Florida, freezing Florida. What is actually happening right now? Definitely not for me. Those of you that live in the snow, you are a different breed. I'm so envious of you being able to enjoy the cold like that. For me, this is no way to live. I don't love it, but awesome. Missouri, wow. Iowa, so cool. Okay, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and dive in and start. So, Bulk Texter Pro, here our focus of the training is going to be closing the gap. So, really, what we want to do at this point in the year is drive course completion, right? We're talking about something that happens every single year, no matter how many years you've been teaching. Course completion either stabilizes at this point or it starts slipping. And so this session isn't going to be, hey, how do we send more reminders? It's about being intentional, well timed with your messages to help your students finish strong. And so we're going to talk about some strategies and then how Bulk Texter Pro supports that strategies. I will get in and do a demo as well. So that way we can kind of see what that looks like when we apply those strategies. So without further ado, let's get this thing going. So the mid-year struggle. This is not just senior season. This is not something that applies to just seniors. This is everybody. Students, unfortunately, and teachers struggle in that middle of the year. We get a nice long break and we see what freedom tastes like. And then we're expected to just hop back in and, oh, let's just finish this thing. It's very challenging. And so the reality is, students become overwhelmed. They lose their motivation. Those assignments start piling up. Their communication drops off. Our communication drops off. And then people are feeling stretched thin. Whether it's teachers, but also students, it's very, very challenging. And the unfortunate aspect of what happens when the struggle sets in is they disengage. Silence begins to happen, whether it's silence on their part or silence on our part. And what we're looking to do is help them. For me, I feel like the field of education is a lot about perception, right? We can say, oh, they're failing because they don't care. They just don't care. But for me, I always want to adopt the mindset that students don't fail because they don't care. They fail because they feel overwhelmed. I don't care if you are a kindergarten teacher or a senior teacher. They are babies. They need our help. They need our support. Whether they're a grown baby or a kindergarten baby, they need your support. And it is very easy in the virtual space to feel overwhelmed. And so, adopting that mindset and adopting that perception of our students is going to be helpful with how we support them. And I feel like that is huge. So, what we want to do is focus on timely, intentional messaging. We want our messages to help their roadblocks in order to help them finish strong. And it can be challenging to identify those, absolutely, but our goal is what we can do. What do we have the power to do to help them? So, we've all sent messages that don't land. Most messages are either too vague, they're too long, too negative, they're poorly timed, whether it's the time of day, the time that we send them where it's almost too late, like, hey, Johnny, you're 80% behind, time to catch up. That can be challenging to digest. And so it can be time of day or too late in their ability to change, lack personalization. So it comes across as a robo message, or they get too many at once. So, what do we want to do here? Every message that we send should have the intentional mindset that we want to prevent, be clear, and encouraging. We want to send it when it can still change their behavior. We want to be a preventative force in their education. And we want to create a clear action step for them that is supportive and not threatening. And this is very easy for us to do when we kind of look at some of the messages I send you and the tone in which our messages are sent. So let's take a peek at what those look like. In my mind, I've adopted four different places that your students can be struggling, and they all need different messages. So, in my four little categories, I have your start, your stuck, your moving, and your finish kiddos. They all need motivation. They all need encouragement from us, but the goal of our communication is different in each of these phases. We have our start kiddos. The goal, get them moving. Why do kids not start? Why do kids struggle to start? It's because they have a fear of starting. They're overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. What do I do first? They open it and they see the entire semester, and it can be a little, so our goal when messaging our start kiddos is to remove the fear of starting. Now you have them working. Great. Burp, they fall off. What is our goal with our stuck kiddos? They're stuck. We want to help make the work feel possible, reduce the overwhelm. We as teachers can do the same thing where we come back from winter break and we're like, holy cow. And we see everything that we have to do to catch up to get started on the year. We want to make the work feel possible. We want to encourage them. Hey, I know this feels overwhelming. I'm here to help reduce that for you. Our moving kids, this to me is one of the most important. This means they are moving. So we need to act as an encourager. This is where we reinforce their progress. We want to let them know, I see you. I see you are working, and I am proud of that. I do not always want to be the bearer of bad news. I also want to be the deliverer of your success. That is so important. If the only time our name ever pops across their screen is to deliver a, hey, where are you? Where are you? Get working. They don't want to talk to us. And that is very important. I want to be your cheerleader. I want you to know I see you. I see that you're working and you're moving. And I want to reinforce that progress to keep that momentum going. Then we have our finishers. Believe it or not, some of the hardest ones is those in the struggling zone of the finish. That 10% can sometimes be the hardest 10% for them to finish. Why? Because the exam is at the end. So a lot of them drag their feet. They're nervous. They don't want to bomb the exam. It's overwhelming. I have to remember everything I've learned. So we want to prevent drop off. We want to push them to complete, and we want to prevent that drop off from happening. So it is very important to create clear transitions between each kid. It's important because not all struggling students are in the same place, and we want to make sure that they're getting the appropriate message. So, with that being said, our tone matters. If you came to my training in the fall, this was the meat and potatoes of that whole training. Tone matters, okay? SMART goals. If you have been around in education for a while, I remember sitting in pre planning sessions with lots of teachers and admin, and this was like the coolest thing since sliced bread. All your lessons plans had to be SMART, they had to be specific and measurable and achievable and relevant and time bound. So we really, really focused on that in the earlier 2000s in education. It's kind of disappeared in the background, but it made me think all these years later, why are we not applying this to communication? Why are we not using smart language when we talk to our students who don't know us, who don't see us on a daily basis? We want to make sure the way we're communicating is smart. Let's take a peek at an example. If you are texting a student, you're missing 5 assignments, this must be completed. The tone's a little off, okay? If you are a spouse, you know, in the land of marriage, you always say, it's not what you say, it's how you're saying it. This is a completely true statement for this specific kiddo. How can we change this, make it smart, and make it easy for them to digest, absorb, and want to take action? Because, right, if they digest and absorb but do nothing, it wasn't really effective. So our tone and the way that we speak is important because we want it to be followed with an action. So now we're talking to Maria in a smart voice. Hi, Maria. I'm so proud to see you working. Encouraging. Start with lesson 2 today. Very specific. Try to submit by Thursday. Time bound. You've got this. Reply with a thumbs up so I know you got this. Now, not only are we giving them something that's manageable, it's relevant. We're initiating, hey, I would love for you to respond, not only as a read receipt, but to encourage two-way communication. And you can be as silly and funny as you want with this. This is the example I use all the time because I saw it. And because it was so unique, I'll never forget it. I had an elementary teacher who always talked to her kindergartners, and obviously it was the parents, but she would say, your grade book is starving and you need to feed it. What are you going to feed it this week? Reply with the emoji that you're going to feed it. Kids are sending cheeseburgers, ice cream cones, tacos, all of those different things. Anything you can do to elicit two-way communication from those kids, it not only serves again as a read receipt for you, but encourages them, this is a safe place for you to respond. If you have questions, I want you to ask them. I want you to feel like you can participate here in this conversation. So it's huge. Tone determines response. We want the emotional impact to be there in a positive light rather than a directive force. How often is too often? We've got our tone. Now, how often do we do things? I want you to put yourselves in a virtual kid's shoes. Okay. They have 4 classes, 2 elective classes. And if every teacher is sending 4 messages a week, they're getting 24 text messages a week, which is complete, in my opinion, digital overload. We want to chunk this. We want to make it intentional. My phrase and my motto, even with teachers I've worked with, is intentional messages always win. It's not about sending more messages, it's about sending better messages. You should be doing 1, maybe 2 max messages per week when it comes to utilizing Bulk Texter Pro in your courses. I, as your student, should not be receiving more than 2 bulk texts from you a week. Why? Again, it's about intentionality. If you are giving me a bouquet of flowers every day, if my husband shows up with flowers every single day, they start to lose their impact, right? Whether they're intentional, I want them to be intentional. So our students absorb messages the exact same way. So it's not about sending more messages, it's about sending better ones, okay? So this is incredibly important. When we look at sending better messages, that's what this is all about. How do we make them better and how do we make it easier for you? And that's where we come in. Bulk Texter Pro, how do we support this? Bulk Texter Pro allows you to personalize your messages. It allows you to schedule them intentionally. It allows you to utilize templates that you have used before, which saves you time. group students strategically through CSV, and group messages with the learning coaches. Why is that important? I met with a teacher to talk about group messaging. And she was like, "Yeah, I typically just message with the students." And I just said, "Can you explain to me why you don't ever include the parent?" She said, I'm not really sure. I don't know why I don't include the parent." And I said, "Look, as a mother myself, if my student was getting updates about their coursework and they still live under this roof, I want to know how it's going." So she was like, "You know what? I'm going to try. I'll include the parents this time." She followed up with me after and she's like, "I'm not kidding you when I say it is life-changing. Not only do the parents now know what's going on, but those kiddos who never responded to me before, you better believe it was, 'Yes, Miss Neenan, I'll get right on that,' because their parents are watching, their parents are in the thread." It is a very powerful tool to be able to utilize with Bulk Texter Pro, grouping those messages together with the learning coaches. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. And then also, I have on here delivery tracking. What that means is essentially just being able to go in your history tab with Bulk Texter Pro and see what messages have sent. So you have a very clear picture of who is receiving your messages when you send them. And I always like to go with a little bit of research, right? Research, it consistently shows that students perform better when they feel seen, when they receive friendly reminders and nudges, and they have clear expectations and steps. So if we know that research is telling us this, we need to make sure to provide that for them when we don't see them in the classroom every day. This is their lifeline for success, is our communication, and that's on us. And so that's why this tool is so important, giving you all of these different outlets to be able to do all these things to message them. I love in the chat I am seeing, absolutely, if you include the parents, that is when those kiddos respond. I am telling you, game changer, life changing. So, our training today, me moving into the demo, is all about upping your game. I want to make your CSVs work for you. Here's an example of one thing I'm going to show you, but I know that there are several teachers out there, especially in this live right now, that have 150, 180 students, 100 and 200 students. I was working with a teacher and she's like, "Yeah, I have about 280 kids." And I'm like, "Holy cow." And she was telling me, "I separate them into three different groups so that way I can send three different messages." And it got me thinking, how can we strategically make this easier for you as the year is coming to a close to encourage kids to complete? And that's all about making things work for you. We always want to do the work smarter, not harder. So that is what we are bringing today. We are going to talk about scheduled send time, and we are going to talk about comments within CSV. The scheduled send time, before I kind of get into what that looks like, this is not something you are going to download from your LMS system. This is something that you add into the CSV after you have already downloaded it from your platform. So I just want to make that clear. This is not going to be, oh, within, Pearson Online School or LMS, or I'm sorry, VSA, or any of those other LMS systems. These categories don't exist. This is something that you type yourself. So, scheduled send time, what is that? That is you being able to send messages within the same exact CSV, so you don't have to create another one. You being able to send messages, and I brought it back here, two different time slots in the same exact CSV. Why would anyone ever do this? I know that there are hundreds, thousands of users that we have that have a split enrollment, meaning you have full-time students and their hours are your standard, between 9 and 3 p.m. And then you have what we call blended or part-time students who they take online classes in isolation, and their hours are typically 4 to 8 p.m. Now, if I am at work and I am receiving messages within the work hours, I am not as focused. I am not as likely to answer. It is going to be, this has to wait until after work. We need to think of our students exactly the same. If they are in school, us saying, "Hey, remember to sign in today at 10 a.m. and they're in math, it is not as impactful. So, being able to create the same exact spreadsheet and separate the times in which you send it so it's more impactful and being delivered to them when they can actually do something about it is very, very important. So, we're going to look at how that works. And then, like I said, comments. I'm going to show you some true examples of what that looks like, and kind of how you can utilize it. When we're looking at virtual school, we always talk about the intention of being personalized. And so when we are looking at the intention of being personalized, that goes with all aspects of communication. And I know that several schools do welcome calls. And during your welcome calls, it's important for you to say, hey, I really want to learn more about you. What's a sport you do? What's something that you enjoy doing? And with that, some of us take notes and we want to include that in our messaging. Why? Because it's impactful. That kid is like, I can't believe she remembers I play soccer. That's really awesome that she's wishing me good luck tonight. We can layer this in our text messages, not only with clear next steps for what we want our kids to do, but with, again, nice, friendly, encouraging reminders that are completely outside of the realm of the academic aspect of teaching and more about that personalized connection with our kids. So here's a very basic example of a LMS download that I got from, my student roster. And you can see all of these parents and students have very unique phone numbers that we are going to be using for our example today. I am deciding to do a group text with these students because I do have the parent and the student number available. But these are the categories that were pulled from my LMS system. I have the grade, I have the subject area, which I love this spreadsheet because I'm dual certified. So, yay, me. The percent complete, expected finish date, last assignment submitted, and assignment coming up. I did not add any of these. This is what was directly from my spreadsheet. Now, this is what I'm talking about when I say make your CSV work for you. We are going to add these layers. So the first one that I'm going to add is, again, that scheduled send time. This is going to be where I make the decision based upon my student enrollment. When do I want them to get these messages? Are they a full-time student and I can send it to them in the morning and I can say, you know what, I'm working right now, but I really want this kid to get it at 10:15 tomorrow. I want them to be able to see this text message tomorrow, and this one's full time and this one's full time. And I can pick and choose the students based off of their enrollment when I want them to get it. Now, let's say there are some students on this roster where I know for a fact they are in school until 3:30, they ride the bus, and most of them don't get home until 4. But I don't want to make two different spreadsheets for that. So I am now going to add military time. Bear with me. This is a 4:15 p.m. That student is going to get it when they are out of school. So now when I'm sending them, hey, you need to log in tonight, you need to submit 2 assignments, they can do something about it. They can answer that text and say, you know what, I just got home, I just walked in the door, I will get on that and I will work on this assignment immediately. They have the power to now take that text message and not say, hey, I'm in school, but I'll be home in 6 hours. I'll try to remember to do it. We want to give them the power when they have the capability. I want to say that again. We want to give them the power when they have the capability to do something about it. And this is a very easy way to do that. You can absolutely create separate spreadsheets, but this is a way to cut down on the time it is going to take you fiddling with your LMS and separating groups and make the CSV work for you. Here is my absolute favorite CSV trick. And it blew my mind when I learned about it. And I want it to do the same for you. This is the comments feature. You don't have to call it comments. You can call it extra text, whatever. It's whatever you title this column at the very top that is going to determine how it shows up in Bulk Texter Pro, which I will show you. The comments. This is anything extra you want to say to specific kids outside of your blanket text. So if your group text for today is going to be just a progress update, your biweekly progress update, Hey, it's Miss Meenan. This is your Algebra 1 class. I wanted to let you know you're 35% complete and you have an 85% B. I'm so proud of you. There are layers where I'm like, you know what? When I was grading, I wanted to say something super special to Jackson because his essay that he wrote for 3.02 was incredible. I'm going to add that as a little comment. And now, when I send Bulk Texture Pro, he is going to get this comment when I add this merge field. He's going to get a special little comment that's not going to go to anybody else. I know that I have a student, like I said, who is on the soccer team. And I know that they have a game tonight. So I really want to make sure that I wish them good luck in their soccer game tonight. So I'm going to add that little comment for them. Good luck in your soccer game tonight, cheering you from afar. Okay. This is an additional layer of personalization that we are setting for our kids. And again, can you imagine being a 16-year-old and thinking, this teacher don't give a about me, okay? Good luck in your soccer game tonight, cheering for you from afar. That is so, so special for a kid to hear from a virtual teacher. You are taking memory of their likes, their dislikes, their interests, things that they are doing outside of school and wishing them luck on it. Huge, huge deal. Let's say we have a student who needs some extra support and we want to remind them that they have tutoring tomorrow. I can also add that as a little comment. Don't forget about tutoring tomorrow. Can't wait to support you. This is going to be, again, that additional layer that we are going to provide for our students. You do not have to put a comment for every single one. Susan, I am giving you a hug from afar. She said you could set up birthday text messages to be sent on their birthday. How incredibly special is that? I'm telling you, the possibilities are endless with this feature of being able to schedule things based upon unique situations and scenarios. Susan, thank you for that. So, so special. Um, so again, yeah, these are going to be the comments that I'm going to use just as an example. Now, I do want to prepare you. When we upload your CSV, it is going to tell you that there's errors, okay? Because not every student has a comment here. They will still send. I will show you what the text messages look like. They will still send, but you just have to be very, very mindful that if there is a blank, it will say there's no comment for this text message. So you will get a red error. As you're in CSV upload, but the messages will still send. So let's do this. I am going to say these are the only students I want comments for. These are the only students I'm going to schedule a time for, and the rest of these I just want to send as is. So I'm going to leave everything. I'm going to save this and download this, and then let's hop into Bulk Texture Pro. Here is the blessing of a tool that graces our presence when it comes to helping communicate with your kids. So I am going to stay in CSV upload and just kind of provide what it looks like when you upload this. Yes, you can. You can autofill and do no additional comments. You can. What I mean when I say errors is I'm just going to show you that it says, hey, there's no comment for this kid. It's not going to give you like a text error. That's not what I meant. I just meant it's going to give you the red, the scary red of there's no comment for this text. So you absolutely can do that. I just wanted you to see without doing extra work. I love this. How far out can you schedule a message? If you were going in Bulk Texture Pro, you can schedule as far as the eye can see. I don't think there have been any inconsistencies with scheduling as long as you follow the protocol for scheduling, which is keeping your computer awake and alive. But you can schedule. I mean, I've had great success with scheduling, weeks in advance, just as long as, again, you have your computer awake and alive within the time that the scheduling is supposed to happen. Yeah. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to grab that CSV that I just created and upload that so we can kind of play a little bit with the features that we saw. So, hi, name. Pro tip. Okay, in your CSV, if you have them formulated as last name, first name, there is this beautiful, beautiful new addition of student name, first name, where it will pull from your report just the first name of the student. So it will just pull the first name of the student for you. So it gets rid of that like robotic last name. Um, Anyways, and just as the first name. So life changing. So you don't have to create macros to text columns and get rid of that last name. You can just do that little button and it just pulls that first name for you so beautifully. So now you are much less of a robot and it's not saying Nina, comma Brittany. It's just saying, hey, Brittany, refreshing, beautiful, easy peasy. Okay, so now crafting our message. This is totally up to you what you do. I live by the standard of smart messaging, but I also want you to see within Bulk Texter Pro, I have spent countless meetings and hours with teachers who are like, yeah, I clean up my CSV and I delete all the columns I'm not going to use. You absolutely do not have to do that. Bulk Texter Pro seamlessly provides you with the opportunity to choose what your students see versus what they do not see. So if I don't want to talk anything about their expected finish date, I'm just not going to insert this merge field here. So I'm going to say, hi, I am so proud of all the work you've done so far. Okay. I always throw something encouraging in there. It's very my personality, but it's also super helpful for your kids. Say something positive. Remember the little positive sandwich of positive, negative, positive? Find a way to do that. Throw something in there encouraging for your kids. Even if it's a behind message, whatever message you're sending, just tell them that you're so glad they showed up. It is incredibly impactful. So I'm so proud of all the work you've done so far. Now, coming from the land of language arts, preview, preview, preview. Every time I do something, I scroll down just to see how it looks, make sure the punctuation is good, especially when it comes to percents and all of those things. I want to make sure it's formatted beautifully. So you can scroll down and preview. And again, I only scheduled a couple messages, so these ones say NA, but you can see the ones that I have specifically scheduled. It tells me the time and date that they're going to go out. Okay, so let's add that beautiful comment feature. I'm going to pretend that there's this beautiful message I have crafted, and I want to add that comment on the bottom. Okay, let's just click comment so you can see what happens here. Here's that red I was telling you about. You absolutely can do some tricks and do the no additional comments to avoid this, but this is the simple way that I utilize it that I don't have to do anything extra. All it's going to tell you is that there's a missing value. That does not mean this text is not going to go out. It still goes out. But you can see here's an example for Jackson. He got the comment about his essay. You can see this text message to Brody. He's getting the standard, I'm so proud of the work you've done so far text message. Jackson got that additional layer of way to go on your essay. You did an incredible job. And I did not have to create a new spreadsheet. Thank you. Losing my mind here. I did not have to create a new spreadsheet specifically for Jackson to create a new message. He is still getting the standard message, but now that additional comment goes directly to him and I don't have to do any extra background work. This is huge when it comes to course completions. Why? Because now I can specifically target with my biweekly progress updates what those students need to get across the finish line. If all they need is their segment exam, I can give them their biweekly progress update and remind them, hey, you're so close. You are so close to finishing. I believe in you. I can create those messages without creating a new spreadsheet. I can filter my kids by 80% complete or more and tell them you're more than 80% complete, and all of those kids get comments. I can create layers of tutoring. Hey, these kids are less than 80%, and I want to provide them with an opportunity for tutoring to let them know I'm here for them. Click, click, click. Those 6 kids get comments. It's so helpful. I have a row titled help, and I love that. Okay, so she has a row titled help, and she can put resources for the assignment they need to work on. The layering is incredible. When I tell you the impact that it has of just taking things a step further, right? This is like the Disney World of customer service when it comes to communication. You are getting that like top tier, like, wow, this was magical sending this, getting this message. I always think to myself too, as someone who is a mom with 2 boys in school, I always think, what kind of message would I want my kid to be getting? If they are on the struggle bus, How do I want their teacher to be communicating with them? What types of supportive messages would I love to see in my text messages? And that to me is incredibly helpful. This comment section is just changed so much for me about the way messages are being sent out. Students are receiving messages, which again is ginormous. So, someone asked about scheduling. I just want to tell you what that looks like here. When I click the schedule, you can see this beautiful option of years. And as far as the eye can see, you can schedule to send those messages. If you schedule a message in 2020 or 2099, let me know how that goes. Um, but you can schedule, like I said, as far out as possible, as long as you have the appropriate settings and everything for those messages to send at that time, then absolutely they will send out. So, note to self, you can schedule those messages to go out. You can also send them now, which again, most people do. If you have Google Voice, it will open. Obviously, these are not real phone numbers. So the likelihood of them going through is not as high as a real phone number. But you can absolutely schedule those to send out now and for those to go through. So when it comes to this comment feature, again, the resource links, I love that. You can do birthdays, love that. You can do next assignment coming up. You can congratulate them on something that they've done before. Really, really, the possibilities are endless. You guys are popping off in the chat right now with all different ideas. If you have an idea of how to use the comment box, go ahead and throw it in the chat box to encourage other teachers on different ways that they can utilize this chat comment feature, and especially focusing on the mid-year slump. Mid-year slump is so hard to come back from in the virtual space. So what types of comments can we use when it comes to um, including in your spreadsheet and adding that additional layer? If you have an idea, absolutely throw it in so that way we can see them and other teachers can be encouraged with your incredible ideas on how to communicate with their kids as well. Okay, so with Bulk Texter Pro, this is just going to be a side tangent for me. If you are downloading a spreadsheet and for whatever reason there are like 50 different phone numbers and you're like, okay, I want to send a group text message, but there are so many phone numbers. I don't want it to go to 50 phone numbers. I only want it to go to the learning coach, and then I want it to go to the student. Next to every CSV that you upload, there is this beautiful little gear that is just a life-changing little gear where you can click that and decide which columns you want the group text to go to. So very, very, very cool. Now, this example spreadsheet I had only had two phone numbers. But if you are someone in the virtual space and you have their guidance counselor number and their home education office number and all these unnecessary numbers where you're like, well, I don't really want to text our guidance counselor, you can click on that gear and be very specific on who you want it to go for. Okay. So, again, life changing things that exist within. I mentioned this before as well in my previous slide that templates are there for you. Recent. This is such a cool feature where I can pull this up and see all of my recently used images and text messages in order to seamlessly make my time more valuable. I am no longer having to retype. If you have a welcome call text that you send and they get the same one, that's something you can do. I would definitely avoid using templates over and over with kids that are already enrolled with you, because the goal here is obviously to be less robotic. And if they're getting the same text every time you do an update, probably takes away from that a little bit. But images, totally great to reuse. Welcome call text messages, absolutely, because those are your newbies and they typically only get that welcome call text once. If you have a finisher text message of like, I'm so proud of you, you're at 90% complete, that's a great one because they'll only get it in that phase of their course. But that saves you time of being able to do that. So you'll be able to see all your recents here. So awesome hidden tools within Bulk Texter Pro that again support you communicating with your kids and being able to send out those messages. So with that, let's kind of hop back in really quick. Switch screens. Okay, so we did our little CSV demo. And again, it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like a lot. There are some written examples and things within our website on how to utilize these. We also have downloadable example spreadsheets of the schedule send that you can download and have that already filled in so you can see what that looks like. But I have a call to action. I feel like every training you go to, you're like, wow, that was a cool idea. And then you walk away and you're doo with your daily life. I want you to pick one of these things that if you are not already doing it, you are going to start implementing within your text messages, your communication, right? I want you to choose one of these four that we talked about today. Add a comment before you send, make it interactive, add encouragement in messages, or ask for a reply. Pick one of these that you are like, you know what? I am going to do this. I am going to apply this in my messaging. And I want you to kind of, if you feel the nerve or feel the power, let me know how it changed for you. Let me know. Find us in support at Bulk Texter Pro and say, hey, I added this and this is what I saw happen. I want you to know that every layer of things that you do, it is going to be more impactful for your kids. So if you do all of these things, you are like top tier messaging when it comes to interacting with your kids in communication. Okay, there's a couple things in chat before. Kelly, I'm so excited for you to use Bulk Texter Pro. Welcome to the family. If you want, there are some demos on the website that are a lot slower than this. If you have questions, just reach out to us at support. Okay, if they need a call, a DBA. Yeah, love that. Ask for a reply for sure. Yeah. So when we talk about engagement, that is my number one tip to upping your game when it comes to messaging. All this other stuff is great, but asking for that reply is life changing because, again, oftentimes students get our text messages and they're like, okay, great. And then they put their phone down. We're not asking them to do anything. So when we say, hey, I want you to respond to this, they're like, okay, sure. And it can be something as simple as, respond with your favorite emoji. You can change it every time. You can say, hey, I want you to respond with an emoji that has to do with nature. You can say, hey, I want you to respond with your favorite sport emoji. All of those different things. The gear next to the CSV that you upload. So anytime you upload a CSV, the name of the CSV, there will be a little gear on the left-hand side right next to it. Okay. All right, the moment you've been waiting for. I have Brian from Bulk Texter Pro in the chat right now, and I'm going to have him pick some users who have participated in the chat box and give away some swag. What better way to show people such a cool tool than to wear swag with Bulk Texter Pro on it? We are incredibly grateful for anyone that wears Bulk Texter Pro, shares Bulk Texter Pro. We obviously don't have anything other than word of mouth. And we are so incredibly grateful for those of you that speak highly of us and love the things that we do to help you and to service your kids, because really that is our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is for us to really get the communication right. Virtual education, that is the number one biggest challenge, is communication. So bridging the gap for communication is really, really challenging. And so this is a supplemental way to do that, is by communicating with us. And we're just so grateful and so glad that you're here. So Brian is right now in the chat. Like I said, I'm going to allow him to pick some people and share that in the chat for some swag. So yeah, we have a shirt, a 3/4 shirt, a mouse pad. We have a short sleeve shirt. Oh, I'm sorry. That one is a zipper bag, that first one. And then the mouse pad, a backpack. Love that. And then my personal favorite is the socks. In Florida right now, we could totally use this. Yes, laptop sleeve. In Florida, we could totally use this right now. Those of you in other states that is way colder than this, you can use these as well. But yeah, so the socks are my personal favorite. And yeah, so I love our swag. So hold on. Let's see where Brian. Now it's just the drum roll of him getting in the chat and letting us know who the random winners are of our swag. While this swag screen is up, I will just very quickly talk about what my expectation as far as bulk texture pro. We are a supplemental tool. If you have students that are behind or really, really struggling, I always encourage voice to voice, calling those kids, getting on the phone with them and their families is so, so important. Because we are their lifeline to their success in our classes. I'm trying so hard not to laugh at Casey saying that she was in the chat complaining with an Alaskan. Okay, we are their lifeline for success in communication, and communication in a virtual space is the number one priority. So without communication, the likelihood of success is like, so with us, we are a supplemental tool to close the gaps, or build the bridge, if you will. But that voice to voice is still so, so, so important. I really, really want to prioritize and encourage that voice to voice cannot be replaced. And we are just that beautiful supplemental tool that brings everything together and makes your life easier. So definitely don't discount us, but I also want to always encourage that voice to voice is so incredibly important with your kids. They care about you. They want to hear from you. As uncomfortable as they might sound, it really, really is impactful for you to pick up the phone and to call them. Okay. I love that people are like, the mouse pad can be used. I love the baseball shirt too. My son plays baseball and he would definitely want to wear that. How do you learn about photo file name you mentioned above? I would have to scroll up in the chat. I didn't see that. Okay, our winners. Okay, our winners. If you see your name in there, please email us at support@bulktexterpro.com. So that way you can decide what prize you want and what swag you would like to wear. If you weren't a winner, every training we do, we'll do swag giveaways. But please reach out to us at support@bulktexterpro.com and we will discuss what swag you want. So, my takeaway from this training, I always want to give you something. I want you to be able to walk away with something. Hopefully, Brian can assist me with this. I have created some example templates. I want you to make sure that you have something where you're like, I can do this. I can change the way that I'm communicating with my kids. So, I created some templates for every single phase, those 4 phases, that you can just use. They are turnkey, ready to go. You can upload it into Bulk Texter Pro and start applying those with your messaging. So that example template, it's going to be a public PDF that you guys will be able to see. Like I said, I've organized them in sections so that way it's under start, stuck, moving, finish. And so you can really see what I mean when I say interactive text messages. There are going to be some examples for you from all of the tips that we talked about today, from eliciting responses and being interactive and smart messaging and all of those good things. So I see some of you are chit-chatting in here. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. As soon as I finish this, if Brian can't find it, I will put it in the chat myself. But I do this every time because it's so important to me. Again, this training is just not about sending more messages. It's about sending better ones. It's about layering your messages. And mid-year doesn't have to mean momentum loss, even though a lot of times it is coupled that way. With intentional communication, all of the right tools, we can help address those students and finish strong. And before we wrap up, I always like to do this too because it is not said enough. I don't care. I will sing it and say it till the cows come home. Thank you for showing up, not today, but every day for your students. The work that you do, it matters more than you will ever be able to hear. You're not just a robot that tracks assignments and lessons and sends reminders. You, whether you like to admit it or not, you are building confidence. You are creating accountability. You are helping students believe that they can finish something that at one point they thought was too hard. So the mid-year, yes, it can feel heavy. It stretches everyone, students and yourself. But the fact that you're here, you're already showing something that you want to learn to communicate more intentionally and be impactful with your students. So thank you for caring. Thank you for leading. Thank you for choosing to be the kind of educator that helps your students finish. I am very grateful. And we at Bulk Texture Pro, we are so grateful that you are a part of our family. We cannot tell you enough. So, with that, I'll stick around for a few minutes if anybody has questions. But thank you so much for being here. I cannot say it enough. And just again, thank you for being a part of the Bulk Texture Pro family. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. That link to the templates is in the chat. So if you're still here, you can grab that link. It's public. You can share it, use it, all of the things. Start applying it, and again, come talk to me and support at Bulk Texter Pro with, hey, I applied this and it was great. I saw this. Incredible. Yeah, our inventor is actually Brian in the chat. So he is the brains behind all of this. One of the most incredible brains I've ever had the privilege of being in the presence of. Yes. Yep. The training will be on YouTube Live. Absolutely. So this is live, and so it will be on the YouTube page if you ever want to share it or rewatch it. Um, yeah, it will be up. It will be up. Sometimes it takes a little while to process, but it will be up. So all you have to do is just go to Bulk Texture Pro on YouTube, and then you'll be able to watch this or share it. Good. I'm so glad. I love people saying it's been a game changer. Absolutely. Good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When you add the layer of CSV and then you I click send now. Yes, because it depends on how many layers, but I click send now. How do we know if we won the Bulk Texture Pro swag? The users are up here. I can read them out. It is Danielle Oakes, Shelby Robertson, Sherry Potter, or Della Charm. So those are the 4 winners. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. I use the comments personal message to the student. I also create a to-do column. Love that. Love that. Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I see someone. Thank you, Brian. Yes, thank you, Brian. Okay, I'll give it a few more minutes. Some of you are hanging around probably to see if there's any other good questions in here. It is priceless. The $4.99 is nothing. Once you've given it a test ride, you're like, wow, this is well worth the money. Thanks, Brian, for creating this. Yes. Getting better and better. Like with thank you. Thank you, Scott. That's so, so thoughtful. I appreciate you. It's adopted. Yes. FLVS with Bulk Texture Pro. Incredible. How do we schedule if my computer is off or goes to sleep? So there is on our website, there is a link that gives you some tips and suggestions when it comes to sending and keeping your computer on. Sometimes people, they do have, what's the professional word I'm looking for here? Their organization limits their abilities to like keep their screen on for a long time. But there are some suggestions on the Bulk Texture Pro website. Um, I'm sure if he's still listening, he can maybe get the link. Yep, there we go. Guide for keeping your computer awake. He just dropped that in the chat, the link on there. That can give you some help. Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, there's that was my professional way. Your organization prevents some of those tools from being utilized. But there are some tips. We've had some people with great success following that guide that Brian sent. We have had people have great success even with some tight locked organizations. Thank you, all of you. Put your mouse on your just get a little house vac and just put your mouse on there and have it do a buy one get one. Keep your computer awake and clean your floors. Casey with the life-saving tips for us today. Okay, with that, I am going to hop off now. Again, I am so, so thankful for the 50 of you left in here that are still trickled in. If you need anything, as always, support at Bulk Texture Pro. Come on in. I am there to help. I'm there to assist you with any of your questions or your needs. And again, with that being said, thank you for being a part of the Bulk Texture Pro family. We are more grateful than you will ever understand. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.